Hi, my name is Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional traveler. Today I'm going to talk about how to keep your sanity in isolation quarantine. How do you keep your sanity during isolation quarantine? For many people that can be a challenge because, interestingly for humans, one of the best tortures, punishments in jail isn't having to clean the dishes, isn't dealing with other people. It's actually isolation, solitary confinement. See, I spent nearly 3 months alone in Antarctica, dragging over 330 pounds from the edge of the Antarctic coast to the South Pole. I did this all by myself, and I paid for the experience. I mean, it was absolutely nuts. I loved the experience. But, people say, wait a minute, you paid to be isolated? Yeah, in my book, Antarctic Tears, which I'm going to read from in a moment, I actually went down there to experience just that. So during this whole crisis and pandemic and everything, I'm actually very experienced in what it's like to be trapped either inside or outside, but trapped somewhere relatively out of your control. And I've got 3 points to talk about here. The first is, interestingly, you might have the greatest freedom to do something you've ever had in your life. Now, there are literally millions of people laid off. I lost all my jobs too. I mean, all my speaking gigs till like late summer, and even then the later ones, people have stopped responding, so who knows? I mean, this might be stuck out for me until sometime next year. I mean, that's just the way it works. So I've got another point to do and talk about that too. But see, this might be the greatest time in your life to do something utterly different. I mean, your kids might be driving you nuts. You might be going berserk with your spouse. I know. And everybody says, oh, you don't understand my situation. Well, I got to tell you, literally billions of people have this problem right now. It's super tough. So look at it this way. If you're unable to go to work, you can't go places, whatever the case may be, this may be the one time in your entire life that nobody's ever had the chance to experience to do something utterly different. Now that doesn't mean, oh, I'm going to travel to Europe or I'm going to see the pyramids or whatever. But think about this. When you're at work and you're grinding away, dang, I don't like it here. I wish I wasn't doing this. Well, now you're not doing it. And maybe you're one of those people that said, I wish I wasn't doing any work at all. Here we are, and I'm laughing because I'm right there with you. And in fact, I lost my grandfather to the virus too, just a short time ago. So yeah, this has been awesome. But what I'm telling you is that of all the opportunities that have ever happened in life, this is your chance to plan, to create a vision, to do something perhaps different in your life. When I went to Antarctica, I had worked for nearly 20 years in tech. I loved it, but it was time for me to make a change. So I did, instead of buying a sports car, I went to Antarctica. Boom! It was totally awesome. Think about this chance in your life. Maybe your job will be there when you come back. Maybe the place won't. Who knows? But the fact is, if you still have your health, and you're still able to stay healthy, you still have it. You've got this. You've got this. This isn't as important, but this and this absolutely make the biggest difference in your life. Now, thinking about this, oh, this is a terrible thing. Think about this as an opportunity. What if I gave you a month off? I know it's unpaid leave. It's suckfest, believe me. But what if I give you a month off and I said, okay, I'm going to give you this month and a half off to do something with your life, to make a change. What would you do with it if you look at it in that sort of perspective? A little bit different, huh? Next. The next point is you've got to accept that you have very little, if any, control in your life. Now, again, you're going to say, oh, that's kind of stupid. I mean, I control everything. Really? Do you control your health? Yeah, you eat healthy, you don't smoke, you don't drink too much. But really, as we've all learned, and thousands upon thousands of people have learned, you don't control much of anything. Now, again, you say, oh, that's terrible. It's like, no. Accepting that reality is critically important. When I was on my expedition skiing across Antarctica, I got a lung infection, not terribly unlike what people are suffering now, except mine caused me to cough up blood. It was really, really unpleasant. Let's see. And I'll read to you. Let's see. The wind was too severe to even open the door, and I started hacking and coughing every time I opened the zipper. Somewhere in the back of my mind, I felt the beginnings of disheartening depression about being trapped, unable to travel. I immediately quashed that thought, instead concentrating on the enjoyable time that I was having, irrespective of being stuck. Even though it was difficult thus far, it was all part of the experience, and it's exactly what I wanted. I thought about listening to an audiobook, but nixed the idea. I enjoyed being out here alone with my thoughts, like the explorers of a century before. See, I got trapped, storms happened, I got coughing sick. I mean, I wouldn't say I didn't all make it, but coughing up blood, that was no bueno, people. So I had no control over that. I showed up to Antarctica sick. I started out my expedition, I couldn't barely breathe. I was, oh my gosh, and like less than a week and a half, 2 weeks into it, I was sicker than a dog. I was lucky to have made it at all. But I knew, look, whether you have faith or not, that's something that's for another topic. But knowing that you have very little control over things, you can only do what you can do today. Worrying about next week, worrying about this and that. I've been struggling with the same thing. Worry, worry, worry. And you know what? The only thing that's costing me is sleep. So whether you use some sort of mechanism, maybe through your faith, or maybe talking to your friends and family, loved ones, dog, cat, hopefully not too much media and news on this thing. Woo, that's going to mess you up. So accepting that you have almost no control, and then just moving forward and saying, okay, well, what can I do today that will move me to a better place in my life? That's the way to think about it. And the third thing I'm going to talk about is know this will be over. Just like the texts that are happening on my computer right now. Know that this will be over soon. It was very interesting. I watched the address by Queen Victoria II in England, and she made a good point. World War II was terrible. We were bombed. I mean, things are awful. I mean, we've got a terrible virus. It's going to cost a lot of lives. A lot of losses are going to be incurred, and more are going to no doubt be incurred. But you have to look at that this circumstance will be over. Things will change, but so often things won't change. They will be exactly the same. As I was marching across Antarctica by myself to the South Pole in voluntary, solitary confinement, and I'm going along, initially you think, man, this is terrible, it's terrible conditions. Like, whoa, whoa, whoa. I actually signed up for mine. You probably didn't sign up for what's happening to you, right? But no, assuming you stay healthy, nothing bad happens, God forbid, you have to look at this circumstance as temporary. You look back throughout the history of America and the world, so many things had gone so wrong. World War I, World War II, Spanish flu, Civil War, Vietnam, Korea, gas lines. I grew up worrying about nuclear bombs. Hide under your deck and huddle over and then kiss your butt goodbye. That's about how it was. So knowing that this will all be over is key to getting yourself through, because in order to maintain your sanity in these isolation times, man, instead of reading Twitter, reading the news, FaceTime, Zoom, web media, whatever, connect with people you haven't talked with in a long time. Just call up and say, hey, if you got a moment, would you just like to talk? We're a very communicative species on this earth, and we do terribly alone. I mean, when I was in Antarctica, I started seeing colors in the pure white snow. I saw ravens in the sky. I mean, my mind tripped out. I still loved it. But that communication failure, maybe you can't connect with people, maybe you're isolated, perhaps you're an older senior citizen that is in isolation, in a ward, or in a home, just know that this will pass and focus on that moment of, yes, I will get through. I know this is tough now, but I am strong. And think it's all about the attitude. That's why I talk about in my keynote speeches is everything is determined on your attitude of the circumstance. Was it the Marines or somebody says, pain is guaranteed in life, suffering is only optional. We can say, oh, this is terrible to suffer. Or we can say, this is maybe the greatest opportunity in my life to make a massive change, except that you have really very little control. And it's okay. You're strong and you're capable, but some things come out of the blue. Like if I would have told you 12 months ago, hey, there's some weird disease that's going to come out of a country and mess up the whole world, you would laugh in my face as a conspiracy theorist. You changed this channel. Now you got it. Right. And know that this too shall pass one day. If you want to read about super tough and fate of fates in here, I'll put a link below. Check it out. This isn't to sell the book. This is just to tell you that I've been there. I've been in isolation. I've had a terrible lung infection. I coughed up blood, got bronchitis. I mean, it was bad news. And I'm living proof to tell you that you can make it through. I know it's miserable, but take this as a chance to completely alter the course of your life. You won't regret it. My name is Aaron Linsdau. I'm a polar explorer and professional traveler and speaker. Please like and comment on this video, and if you found it helpful, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much for watching, and stay safe out there.